Captain Han stood on the bridge of the human warship Intrepid. His dark eyes scanned the screen showing the strange alien ships ahead. These vessels belonged to something called the Galactic Concord, a group of 17 alien species who controlled this part of space. "They're hailing us again, Captain," said Lieutenant Kim. Her fingers moved quickly over her control panel. Han nodded. "Put them through." The main screen flickered and showed an alien with blue-gray skin and large eyes. This was Commander Tay of the Concord vessel, Righteous Path. "Human vessel," Tay said in a flat voice. "You are trespassing in Concord space. The mining operation you have established on asteroid KX-227 is illegal. Remove your equipment and depart immediately." Han kept his face calm. Earth needed the rare minerals from this asteroid belt. The discovery had been registered properly according to Earth's understanding of space law. "Commander, we believe there has been a misunderstanding," Han replied. "Our survey teams found no claim markers on this asteroid. According to Universal Navigation Treaty standards, we have followed proper procedures." The alien's face showed what might have been annoyance. "Human standards do not apply here. You have one planetary rotation to comply, or we will take action." The screen went dark. "Officer," Bayek, the tactical specialist, leaned forward. "Captain, they've moved 3 warships into position around our mining vessel, Pioneer." Han frowned. This was not going well. Humans had only been traveling in deep space for 30 years. The Concord had been established for thousands of years. But Earth could not afford to appear weak in their first major encounter with an alien alliance. "Send a message to Earth Command," Han ordered. "Request reinforcements, and tell the Pioneer to continue operations but be ready to evacuate." 2 days later, Han watched as 2 more Earth ships arrived, the Dauntless and the Valiant. Captain Jun of the Dauntless was now in command of their small fleet. "The Concord has ignored all our attempts at negotiation," Jun told the gathered officers in the Intrepid's meeting room. "They see us as primitive newcomers who need to be put in our place. Their scans of our ships seem to have convinced them we're no threat," added Captain Min of the Valiant. "Their technology appears more advanced, but they don't understand how we've designed our vessels." Han nodded. Human ships were built differently from the elegant Concorde vessels. Earth ships had thick armor, multiple backup systems, and weapons designed for raw power rather than precision. Centuries of humans fighting humans had created a different approach to warfare. The alarm sounded before they could continue. "Concord, vessels are firing on the Pioneer." Lieutenant Kim's voice came through the comms. The 3 human captains rushed back to their ships. Han reached his bridge, just as the view screen showed a bright flash where the mining vessel had been. "The Pioneer has been destroyed," Officer Bayek reported, his voice tight. 12 crew members were still aboard. Han's jaw clenched. "Battle stations, all weapons ready." The 3 human ships moved to engage the Concorde fleet. The aliens had sent 12 vessels, clearly expecting an easy victory against what they thought were primitive human ships. What happened next shocked the entire Concord. The human ships did not fight according to any known tactics. They didn't form a defensive line. Instead, they accelerated directly toward the Concorde vessels at dangerous speeds. Their shields were configured differently, absorbing energy types the Concorde weapons used. "They didn't expect us to have nuclear-tipped missiles," Officer Beck said with grim satisfaction as 2 Concorde ships disappeared in blinding light. The human vessels took damage but kept fighting. When systems failed, backups came online immediately. When one engine was hit, they adjusted and continued maneuvering. In the Concord command ship, Commander Tay watched in growing horror. Half his fleet was already destroyed or disabled. These humans fought like nothing he had ever seen. "Retreat," he finally ordered. "All ships, retreat immediately." As the remaining Concorde ships fled, Captain Han surveyed the damage to his vessel. The Intrepid had lost 2 weapons arrays and part of its engine capability, but it was still operational. The other human ships reported similar damage. "Send a message to Earth Command," Han told Lieutenant Kim. "Tell them we've had our first real battle with the Galactic Concord. We lost the Pioneer and 12 good people, But the Concorde lost more. He looked at the retreating alien ships on the view screen. Also tell them that the Concorde just learned something important about humans. We don't fight like they do. And they're not prepared for how we wage war. Across the galaxy, the news spread quickly. Human warships had defeated a superior Concorde force. And this was just the beginning of humanity's reputation among the stars. Remember to cite any sources used from web search results using tags when making specific claims. If you're not using the web search tool, you don't need to use citation tags. Admiral Park paced in front of the large screen in the Concord Military Analysis Center. 6 high-ranking alien officers watched her with their various eyes, tentacles, and sensory organs, all focused on the battle recordings. "Play it again," Park ordered. The screen lit up with images of the recent battle where 3 human ships had defeated a Concorde fleet twice their size. The aliens shifted uncomfortably in their seats. This was the 8th time they had watched the humans destroy their ships. Each viewing was more disturbing than the last. "Look here," Park said, freezing the image as a human vessel took direct fire to its command section. "By our calculations, this hit should have disabled their ship completely. Yet they continued fighting at nearly full capacity." General Lee, the oldest officer present, leaned forward on his forearms. "Their vessels have redundant systems we never considered necessary. When one system fails, another takes over immediately." "Exactly," Park nodded. "While our ships are designed for efficiency and beauty, human ships are built expecting to be damaged." A younger officer named Sue raised a tentacle. "But why would they design ships this way? It's inefficient and adds unnecessary weight." Park smiled thinly. "Because humans have been fighting each other for thousands of years. Their entire history is filled with warfare. They've perfected the art of killing, including killing each other." The room fell silent. The concept was alien to most Concorde species who had evolved either as prey animals or as cooperative hunters. Few had the predatory past that humans carried in their DNA. "Watch this sequence," Park continued, advancing the recording. "See how they target our command systems first? They don't attempt to disable our ships. They go straight for the kill." The aliens watched as human missiles bypassed defense systems that had protected Concorde ships for centuries. The missiles seemed primitive, nuclear weapons wrapped in metal, but they were devastatingly effective. "We designed our shields to stop energy weapons," Technical Officer Jin explained. "The humans use kinetic weapons, physical objects moving at incredible speeds. Our shields weren't calibrated for that." General Lee stood up slowly. "The humans don't follow any established battle protocols. They don't seek ship-to-ship combat on equal terms. They simply find the fastest way to win. That's what makes them so dangerous," Park agreed. "We fight according to rules developed over millennia. Humans fight to survive, using any means necessary." The meeting was interrupted when a young aide rushed in. "Admiral, we've received new intelligence. The humans are reinforcing their position near the contested asteroid belt. They've sent 5 more warships." Park dismissed the aide and turned back to the gathered officers. "We need to understand human psychology to fight them effectively. Let me show you something interesting." She played a new recording, a transmission intercepted from the human command ship during the battle. The alien officers listened as human. Captain Han calmly directed his crew, even as systems failed around him. "Notice how he doesn't show fear," Park pointed out. "When their ship is damaged, they don't retreat. They adapt and continue fighting." Officer Moon, who had remained silent until now, spoke up. "I've studied their history. Humans evolved on a dangerous planet where they were not the strongest creatures. They survived through intelligence and cooperation, but also through aggression." "Is there any way to counter their tactics?" asked Sue. Park sighed. "Not with our current approach. We've always designed our military for peacekeeping and defense. Humans designed for warfare." General Lee turned to face the others. "The High Council is considering a major response. They want to send 50 ships to the human system to demonstrate our strength." A murmur ran through the room. 50 ships was an enormous force. "That would be a mistake," Park said firmly. I don't believe superior numbers alone will defeat them. We need to understand their approach to warfare first. Later that night, Park sat alone in her office reviewing more battle footage. She paused on an image of a human ship, its hull scarred by conquered weapons but still fighting. On her desk sat a report about human history. She had been reading about something humans called guerrilla warfare, where smaller forces defeated larger ones through unconventional tactics. They've been practicing for this their entire existence, she whispered to herself, fighting against odds, surviving when they shouldn't. Park knew the Conquered was preparing a major military response to the humans. She also knew, though she wouldn't say it aloud, that it would likely fail. The humans didn't just have deadly ships. They had a deadly approach to warfare itself, born from millennia of fighting their own kind. The Concorde was about to learn just how dangerous humans could be. Captain June stood on the bridge of the Concorde vessel, Harmonious Victory. Around him, 50 of the most advanced warships in the Galactic Concorde formed a perfect attack formation. They had traveled for weeks to reach the human solar system, determined to teach these upstart creatures a lesson they would never forget. We've reached Proxima Centauri, his navigation officer reported. The human system is just ahead. June nodded. The plan was simple and overwhelming. The Concorde fleet would push into the system, destroy any human resistance, and force Earth to accept Conquered authority. The High Council had decided that a show of force was necessary after the embarrassing defeat of their smaller fleet. All ships report ready, Captain, said his second-in-command. Excellent, June replied. Begin the advance. The fleet moved forward in perfect unison, a testament to thousands of years of Concorde military discipline. As they passed the outer boundary of the human system, their sensors detected movement. Captain, 15 human vessels approaching, the sensor officer announced. June almost laughed. 15 against our 50? Their bravery is admirable, but foolish. The main communication screen activated, showing a human female with stern features and gray-streaked hair. This is Admiral Sung of the Earth Defense Fleet, she said calmly. You have entered sovereign human space without permission. You have one opportunity to withdraw. June straightened his spine. This is Captain June of the Galactic Concorde. Your species has shown disrespect to established galactic order. We are here to correct this misunderstanding. Admiral Sung's expression didn't change. We understand perfectly, Captain. You believe superior numbers will grant you victory. That is your first mistake. The screen went dark. Arrogant creatures, June muttered. All ships, advance and engage. What happened next would be studied in Conquered military academies for generations. The human ships didn't form a defensive line as expected. Instead, they split into 3 small groups and accelerated at speeds June thought impossible for vessels that size. They're dividing their forces, June said in disbelief. Target the central group and destroy them first. The Concorde ships fired, but the humans had already changed course. Their movements seemed chaotic, unpredictable. They weaved between conquered vessels, firing precisely at key systems. Sir, we've lost contact with Battle Group 3, his communications officer reported, with growing alarm. Impossible, June snapped. There are only 15 human ships. On the tactical display, June watched as the human vessels executed a series of maneuvers that split his carefully arranged formation. Where Concorde ships moved in coordinated patterns, human vessels seemed to act independently, each captain making decisions based on the changing battle. They're hurting us, June suddenly realized, breaking our formation and driving us where they want us. Before he could issue new orders, a human ship appeared almost directly in front of the Harmonious Victory. It fired what looked like primitive missiles. Ignore those, June ordered. Our shields will... He never finished his sentence. The missiles detonated just outside their shield perimeter, releasing an electromagnetic pulse that disabled their primary systems. Switch to backups, June shouted as the lights flickered. Backups are not responding, his engineer replied with panic in his voice. They used a frequency we've never encountered. Across the battlefield, similar scenes played out. Human ships, targeted Concorde vessels with weapons designed to exploit weaknesses the Conquered didn't know they had. nuclear-tipped missiles, kinetic projectiles, electromagnetic warfare. The humans employed them all without hesitation. 3 hours into the battle, June clung to his command chair as his ship shuddered under another impact. The tactical display, now running on emergency power, showed a devastating truth. 32 Concorde vessels disabled or destroyed. The remaining ships were scattered, their formation broken. "We need to retreat," his second-in-command urged. "We cannot win this battle." June stared at the screen in disbelief. How could 15 ships defeat 50? It defied everything he knew about warfare. "The humans," he said slowly, "they don't fight like we do. They fight to win, not to follow. Proper battle protocols." The order to retreat came from Concord High Command shortly after. Not a single officer objected. The remaining ships limped away from the human system, their pride shattered along with their fleet. On the bridge of her command ship, Admiral Sung watched the Concorde retreat. "Send a message to Earth," she told her communications officer. "The battle is won. Minimal casualties on our side. The Concorde has learned another lesson about human warfare." Her tactical officer, a young man named Officer Choi, looked up from his station. "Do you think they'll come back with an even larger force?" Admiral Sung shook her head. "No, they're starting to understand. Humans don't fight according to rules or traditions. We fight to protect what's ours. And we fight to win." As the last Concorde ship disappeared from their sensors, the crew of the human vessels began repairs. They had survived another day, proving, once again, that human warships were unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen before. The Great Hall of the Galactic Concorde Council glowed with soft blue light. Representatives from 17 alien species sat in curved rows, each behind small screens displaying their language. At the center stood Supreme Counselor Min, her tall, slender body draped in the silver robes of her office. "This emergency session will now begin," Min announced, her voice translated into 17 languages simultaneously. "We are here to address the human situation." The chamber quieted. 2 devastating military defeats had shaken the Concorde's confidence. Their finest fleet had been defeated by a much smaller human force. No one had expected this outcome. Military analyst Ju stepped forward, her datapad projecting images above the council floor. The images showed human warships in battle. "Honored Council, I have studied the humans extensively," Ju began. "What we face is unlike anything in our experience. Human warfare is fundamentally different from our own." She showed footage from the Battle of Proxima Centauri, where 50 Concorde ships had been defeated by just 15 human vessels. "Notice how they target our weaknesses," Ju continued. "They don't follow established battle formations. They adapt instantly to changing conditions." An elder counselor from a reptilian species raised a clawed hand. "Are their weapons so much more advanced than ours?" "No," Ju replied. "In many ways, their technology is less refined. But they apply it differently. They build redundancy into every system. They expect to be damaged and design accordingly." Ju's next images showed Earth historical records. Humans fighting humans with increasingly deadly weapons over thousands of years. "This is what separates them from us," she explained. "Most Concorde species evolved avoiding conflict or fighting only when necessary. Humans perfected warfare against themselves. They've been killing each other efficiently for millennia." A murmur ran through the chamber. The concept was disturbing to many species. Ambassador Yoon of Earth entered the chamber next. Despite being the only human present, he showed no sign of intimidation. He walked with the quiet confidence that had become associated with his species. "Ambassador," Min acknowledged him. "We have been discussing your recent military victories." Yoon nodded politely. "I hope this leads to better understanding between our peoples." Military analyst Ju stepped forward again. "Ambassador, our records show humans have been fighting wars among themselves for most of your history. Is this correct?" "Yes," Yoon admitted. "Unfortunately, conflict has been a constant in human development. Only in recent centuries have we begun to move beyond it. Yet you build warships more deadly than any in the Concorde," Counselor Min noted. Yoon smiled slightly. "We build ships prepared for the worst possibilities. It's a habit we haven't outgrown. The council members exchanged glances. After hours of private deliberation, they had reached a decision that had never been made before in conquered history. Min stood and addressed Yoon directly. The Galactic Concord has reached a conclusion regarding human military vessels. The chamber fell silent. We hereby declare human warships too deadly for conventional space battle, Min announced formally. They are to be quarantined from all major Concord systems and trade routes. Yoon raised an eyebrow. You're declaring our ships too dangerous to fight? I'm not sure whether to be flattered or concerned. You don't understand, Ju interjected. This declaration acknowledges your military superiority. We would rather accept it than challenge it further. Yoon considered this. And the practical implications? Human military vessels will not be permitted within 2 light years of any major Concord world, Min explained. In return, the Concord acknowledges Earth's sovereignty over its current territory, including the disputed mining regions. After the formal session ended, Yoon found himself in a small meeting room with Counselor Min and Analyst Ju. This declaration is unprecedented, Min admitted. No species has ever been recognized this way. It amounts to the Concord publicly stating that we cannot defeat you in battle, Ju added. This will change the power balance throughout the galaxy. Yoon poured a drink from a nearby carafe. Perhaps that's for the best. We have no desire for conquest, only security. That's what we're counting on, Min said quietly. Our studies of your history show humans fight fiercely to defend what they consider theirs. But you also extend that protection to your allies. The Concord has maintained peace for thousands of years, Ju explained. But we've also controlled many worlds that had no choice but to accept our authority. And now they see an alternative. Yoon concluded, understanding dawning. Min nodded slowly. Some will seek human protection against Concord oversight. The galaxy is changing because of your arrival. Yoon looked out a viewport at the stars. Change isn't always bad. Perhaps we can learn from each other. Perhaps, Min agreed, though she didn't sound entirely convinced. But one thing is certain. The galaxy now knows that human warships are too deadly to challenge. Whether that brings peace or new conflicts remains to be seen. As Yoon prepared to return to his ship, he knew the real work was just beginning. Humanity had earned the galaxy's respect through force. Now they needed to show they deserved it through wisdom. Captain Han stood at the front of a large room filled with alien officers. The circular chamber had been designed for teaching, with rows of seats rising upward. Today, representatives from 6 different Concord species watched him carefully. In human military doctrine, we prepare for failure, Han explained, pointing to the diagram of a human warship displayed behind him. Every system has a backup, every strategy has a contingency. We assume things will go wrong. A blue-skinned alien raised a tentacle. But this adds weight and complexity to your vessels. It seems inefficient. Han nodded. It is inefficient until your primary systems fail, then it keeps you alive. The aliens made notes on their devices. 6 months after the declaration that formally acknowledged human warships as too deadly for conventional space battle, this scene would have been unimaginable. Yet here was a human captain teaching Concord officers how humans approached warfare. In an observation booth above the classroom, Admiral Sung watched the lesson with Concord diplomat Do, a small gray-skinned alien with large eyes. Your captain, he's a good teacher, Do commented. Many of our officers were hesitant to learn from humans, but they can see the value now. Sung smiled slightly. Survival is a powerful motivator. After Proxima Centauri, they understand the cost of underestimating human tactics. Do shifted uncomfortably. Yes. That battle changed many things in the Concord. Beyond just military matters, I suspect, Sung said. Do nodded. Several of the outer systems have requested human protection. They've lived under Concord dominance for generations. Now they see an alternative. And the Concord allows this? Sung asked, surprised. What choice do we have? Do replied simply. We could start another conflict, but our own declaration has admitted we cannot win against your ships. Below them, Captain Han was explaining how human vessels could continue fighting even after taking significant damage. The alien officers watched with a mixture of awe and unease. Later that day, Han joined Admiral Sung in the Earth Embassy's garden. The artificial space had been planted with trees and flowers from Earth, creating a small piece of home in alien territory. "How are your students progressing?" Sung asked. Han sat on a bench looking tired but satisfied. "Better than expected. They think differently from us, more cooperatively, less aggressively, but they're learning." "The Concord is changing," Sung observed. "For thousands of years they were the dominant power. Now they must adapt to sharing that position." "Do you think they can?" Han asked. Sung watched a butterfly land on a nearby flower. Someone had thought to bring these creatures to this distant world. "They must," she replied, "just as we must learn to be more than warriors." On the other side of the conquered capital city, a different meeting was taking place. Representatives from 4 worlds that had long been under conquered control met with Earth Ambassador Yoon. "We seek a formal alliance with Earth," said the leader of a mining colony from the system humans called Tau Ceti. "The conquered has taken our resources for centuries while giving little in return." Yoon kept his expression neutral. "Earth doesn't wish to disrupt the stability of this region. The stability was disrupted the moment your warships proved the Concord could be defeated," replied another representative, this one from a water world near the galactic core. These meetings had become common since the declaration. Worlds that had chafed under conquered rule now saw humans as potential protectors. Yoon chose his words carefully. "Earth will consider defensive alliances with independent worlds, but we will not encourage rebellion against the conquered." This balanced approach had become Earth's official policy, neither rejecting potential allies nor actively undermining the existing power structure. As the galaxy adjusted to this new reality, changes rippled through many worlds. At the Conquered Military Academy, a new course was added: Human Combat Tactics. On Earth, cultural exchanges brought alien art and philosophy to human cities. Trade routes expanded as worlds previously restricted by conquered regulations found new markets through human intermediaries. 6 months after these changes began, Admiral Sung stood on the observation deck of her flagship, watching a joint training exercise. Human ships maneuvered alongside conquered vessels, practicing coordinated movements that would have been unthinkable a year earlier. Diplomat Du joined her at the viewport. "An impressive sight," he commented. Sung nodded. "The beginning of something new, I hope. We've studied your history," Do said quietly. "Humans fight fiercely, but you also protect your allies with the same determination. Perhaps the galaxy needs what humans offer. Not just your terrifying warships, but your unwavering loyalty to those under your protection." Far below them, a small transport ship carried Captain Han and his alien students as they observed the exercise. Han pointed out tactical formations while answering questions. The aliens no longer looked at him with fear, but with respect, and perhaps something close to friendship. The galaxy was changing. Humans had arrived with ships too deadly for conventional battle, but they were proving to be more than just warriors. They were becoming teachers, allies, and perhaps someday, true partners in a more balanced galaxy.